Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us for this video presentation. As much as we'd love to be there in person, COVID-19 has other plans for us. This would have been our third presentation that we've done at the Hiawatha Library in beautiful Hiawatha, Iowa. And thanks, Marta, for having us back, and I'm glad we were able to get this together and put it out for Halloween, and it seems to be the year for paranormal stuff, being Halloween. Like I said, thank you for joining us. My name is Greg Reisner.
I'm Jenny Byerline.
And we are the Spectre group. We're out of Iowa, eastern Iowa. I'm from Iowa City, and Jen's from Clarence, Iowa. And we got together back in 2017 and formed this group. Just to back up a little bit, back in 2008, I was co-founder of a group, the Johnson County Paranormal Team, which we're still investigating, but it turned out to be that the team members at that given time really wanted to do more home stuff and, you know, things along those natures instead of spending gobs of money to go investigate these supposedly haunted places. But anyway, that's what I decided that I wanted to do more, you know, because I do want to see these kind of interesting places like this. So back in 2016 is when I met Jen. I put an ad in the paper looking for extra people to investigate with the Johnson County Paranormal Team, and Jen answered the ad at that given time because a few of the members have started losing interest, and the group started getting smaller, and so at that given time, that's why I was looking for more people, and Jen was really into it, and she had worked with different groups, and I thought, wow, she's pretty good, you know. So we end up talking about this, and we end up forming our own little group that goes on these adventures. So we've been doing this for 3 years now. So I'm going to leave it up to Jen right now, and she's going to show you some clips and some stories from the previous investigations we've done, at least a few of them anyway.
So for this first clip, we're going to take you to a place, it's called Farrar. It's Farrar Schoolhouse. It's near Des Moines. It was dedicated on April 1st of 1922. The people that have bought it, the most recent owners, have experienced lots of interesting things there. They've seen things, they've felt things. The clip that we're going to play for you now, you're going to hear something at the 4-second mark. So you should have heard about the 4-second mark. You should have heard a yeah sound. So Edinburgh, the Edinburgh clip that we're gonna play for you, It's another investigator named Laura. Laura and I were down in the basement where the kitchen was, and we were in the kitchen, and we were looking over the like the menu that they would have had and the seating arrangement and what each senior citizen would have gotten. They actually wrote that down on a piece of paper, what they would have gotten to drink for that day. And you can hear a male voice, a deep, deep voice, say the word horse. Pretty loud.
Coffee, milk, and water, so they could only have certain things too. They couldn't even have what they wanted.
So there it was, and we're gonna play it for you again just in case you missed it the first time.
Coffee, milk, and water, so they could only have certain things too. They couldn't even have what they wanted.
So this next clip is taken from Villisca, the Villisca Axe Murder House, when we were there. This clip, you're basically going to hear the camera will shut off, you hear that noise, and then you'll hear me make a noise. Something's up with my stomach during this time, and you can hear me mention, just make kind of a noise, but you don't know it's my stomach yet. And then you'll hear a weird buzzing sound, and then a few seconds later, that's when I mentioned my stomach's hurting. So we're going to play that for you.
They didn't have electricity at the time. They must not have. Oh, there it goes. It just turned on.
How can it not have a screen?
I don't know.
There's no screen. And I turned it off.
You did? Wow. And my tummy's getting a knot again.
Interesting.
All right, so there was that clip, and we're going to play it for you one more time, and just to make it clear, so there was the camera sound that you could hear at about the 8-second mark, and then 16, 17, and 19 seconds. Those are the times that you're going to want to pay attention to. And also, there seemed to be a time in there where the camera just automatically turned on. Now keep in mind, this is actually our audio. This isn't our video. So that's how we were able to capture all this evidence.
They didn't have electricity at the time. They must not have. Oh, there it goes. It just turned on.
How can it not have a screen?
I don't know.
There's no screen. And I turned it off.
You did? Wow. And my tummy's getting a knot again.
Interesting. So that leads us up to this year, back in 2020. So March of this year, we went down to Ashmore, Illinois, to the Ashmore Estates, to where the Ghost Adventures crew had been there, and I'm sure several other teams have gone there. This was our opportunity. The Ashmore Estates was built in 1916 and was in service till about 1959. It was the Coles County Poor Farm till it was later on bought and turned into a private psychiatric care facility. First impressions of this place, we had driven by it. And the funny thing is about this whole thing was that back in March we were supposed to get 3 to 5 inches of snow on this particular day. So it was funny. It turned out to be another particular time last year to where we were going to Peoria, Illinois to go to the state hospital, and I ended up snowing that particular day too. So I don't know what it is. Every time in March that we go to Illinois that it's supposed to snow with all this snow, and so it's like crazy. So but first impressions of the place, they had a person that kind of gave us a tour of the facility and that, and a thing that kind of stuck out in my particular mind was that all these dead birds, they said that the lady had come in before and picked up a few. It's kind of weird that, we have these dead birds, and during our tour of the facility, we end up finding another 3 or 4 dead birds. And it's like, wow, it's kind of crazy. So who knows, if that means anything. But hey, but it was just kind of weird to, I just got a bad vibe about the people that work there. That was just me, and who knows if that meant anything or not. But here's Jen with a few comments.
Okay, so as far as Ashmore goes, this is really weird because I don't remember hardly anything from that investigation. I was there for 8, 10, 12 hours maybe, and I don't remember hardly anything from that investigation at all. I had to be reminded of some things. I bought a DVD at the store. I do remember that. There were some deceased birds when we got there. I remember that. There's a mural there of one of the spirits there of the little girl, and I'm so sorry I cannot remember her name right now. And the older gentleman on the wall, I remember that. But that's it. That's all I can remember from that whole night, which is really weird. I've never had that happen before. So yeah, it's kind of disturbing to me actually that I can't remember much from that night. I don't know why. I can't explain it. I don't like it. But it is what it is. So
when I was going over this particular footage from the Ashmore estate, I was kind of had that feeling that, talking to Jen about, that she really doesn't have a lot of recollection, so I was just trying to pick up on different things that might have been said, and maybe the way she was acting at particular times. So it was kind of, I did pick up on a few things that was kind of interesting and strange, to where she had said that, I don't think we should come back at night. I think during the day would be the best. And it's like, okay, interesting. But I want to focus in on this one particular segment to where we were on a particular floor. I do believe it was the 3rd floor. That's the 2nd floor, I do believe. And a nursing station. I had one of my still cameras sitting at this nursing station because I wanted to focus in on to see if there was any activity in that particular nursing area. And you can see in the background is the twins room. There was supposedly some twins that actually lived in this room, and it's supposed to be a highly active area. So I had a camera running outside of that room, and I also took a camera in with me, and I wanted to focus in on this one particular segment that we were in the twins room. When we were in the twins room, I had a handheld camera and I ran audio with it to kind of confer everything that went on in this particular during this particular time. So this first clip, you're going to hear something at the 28-second mark, and you'll hear it's a man's voice. So I'm going to play that clip and we'll talk about it.
fluctuating pretty good, going up and down, so I don't think it has anything to do with your camera. Turn my phone off. Bet. Yep, I did.
So at the 28-second mark, hopefully you heard a man saying, yep, right before Jen had gone into talking about, I think something that was on her audio or something that came through, or I think she was checking her phone, because at this particular time we had some K2 hits on the meter, and we were kind of checking to make sure, you know, I wasn't setting it off or she wasn't setting it off. So it was kind of weird to hear a man's yep come through. So I want to play that one more time just in case you missed it. The 28-second mark.
Fluctuating pretty good, going up and down, so I don't think it has anything to do with your camera. Turn turn my phone off. Bet. Yep, I did.
So right shortly after this yep part, I was looking out the window and I end up seeing a trailer outside. So this first clip is, this clip is from the nursing station's camera that I was actually to pick this up. So it might be kind of light, but listen at the 6-second mark and we'll talk about it. Whatever it is with color. So hopefully at the 6-second mark, wow, that's a tongue twister, 6-second mark, hopefully you heard the sound, a little girl's voice saying, "Can I see?" And I'll play that again in a minute. And it's really strange that I wasn't able to pick this up on my camera on the one that I had inside of the room. So this voice must have come outside of the room possibly. I don't know, but this is the only time I picked it up was on this particular camera. So like I said, you know, it is a little bit light, but at the 6-second mark, hopefully you'll hear this little girl's voice. Whatever it is with color. Okay, so we got this man's voice inside the room that said the yap, and now we have this little girl that is probably outside of the room, you know, kind of curious to see what's in there, see what we're looking at. So hopefully she's getting closer at this given point. So, you know, we decided to start wrapping things up, and this clip at the 7-second mark is from that outside camera is when the first time that I actually end up hearing this, because there was a little bit of a noise right before it. So the 7-second mark, the same little girl, she says hurt. So hopefully you heard that at the 7-second mark, the little girl saying hurt. I was able to go back and looking at my other video footage that I had of the camera inside, and what was really strange to me is I was actually able to hear that too, the little girl's voice, but it was over top of my voice. So I kept thinking about, is this my voice making this noise, or is that the little girl's voice? So at the 4-second mark, you'll be able to hear this little girl's voice saying hurt. So what was very interesting about this clip at the 4-second mark, this girl saying hurt, it's strange that I thought that I was making this noise, but it was strange enough that the camera out in the hallway wasn't able to pick up my voice, but it did pick up her voice, but on the inside it picked up both our voices. So I found that really intriguing. So that was I'll play here it again at the 4-second mark, and it left me with a very a sad feeling, you know, that I don't know if this girl is, you know, hurt that we are leaving, or did this man hurt her in some way, or did the staff end up hurting her, but it just left me with more of a sad feeling. So I'll play it again here for you at the 4-second mark, this little girl saying hurt, and this is from our walking camera that we used.
So now we're going to take you back to Edinburgh again. It was June 1st, 2020. It was a gorgeous day that day, warm. Greg, is there anything that you have from that day?
The Edinburgh Manor, which was always interesting because, you know, it was Jen's birthday, so that's why I remember a little bit about the Edinburgh Manor one. This was one investigation that we were hoping to do to bring some additional people along with us, but, you know, COVID had different plans at that given time. It's always a good investigation when we can go to Edinburgh Manor. We've always got a lot of few things. I remember running an experiment at this given time with you know, different sights and different sounds and smells and whatever to see if we could, you know, see if we could get an answer. I don't know, to see if they could, somebody intelligently be able to pick up on these different smells and stuff. And we were able to catch a few different entities that we didn't before on the SLS camera, like down by the padded cell anyway. But it's always a fun time to go back to Edinburgh because it's always a different adventure. Something always different happens, so it's interesting.
So the first clip we're going to show you is, this is a clip that was recorded from my camera that I had recorded in the safe room. I always have a camera going pretty much at all times, including our safe room when we're not there. Even when we're in there, I just always have it going. You will hear something at about the 7 to 9 second mark, so listen for that. So you should have heard something at about the 7 to 9 second mark. It sounds like it sounds like a female voice to me. Obviously we leave that up to you to discern, but to me it sounds like a female voice. And it sounds like someone is saying first, okay, and then you can hear a sing-song that sounds like, hello, okay, at about, you know, the 7 to 9 second. So we're going to play that again for you. So the second clip we're going to play for you, it's at about the 16 second mark, and you're going to hear a voice. So take a look. Alright, so you should have heard something at about the 16 second mark. There should have been a voice that you heard. We're going to play it again in case you missed it.
Continuing on to July 17th, this would be our second trip to the Malvern Manor in Malvern, Iowa, which is over by Villisca and over by Council Bluffs, to where our second investigation on July 18th, which Jen will talk about here in a few minutes, took place at the Squirrel Cage Jail. So we did a back-to-back, which was a lot of fun. The Malvern Manor opened in the 1800s as a hotel for the railroad visitors, because the railroad ran close by, so it was kind of a Hooterville type thing, or the Shady Rest. Okay, I'm dating myself a little bit there, but yes, it was a hotel at that given point, but later turned into a nursing home and a group home for the mentally disabled. Mentally disabled, yeah, as we found out with Gracie and whatnot, but you'll see from this particular clip. Malvern Manor, boy, it was hot that time. It was hot during that day. July 17th, you figured it'd be warm or whatnot, but we couldn't even get into the attic where Jen set up a particular camera and just doing a probe of different temperatures and that. It was roughly about 100 the whole time, It was nice downstairs on the first floor, and even our living room, kitchen type area was cooled off and run by air conditioning, but once you got outside of there, wasn't too bad on the first floor, but by the time you get to the second floor, forget it, It was just 90s pretty much the whole thing, so it's just like, wow, that was kind of crazy. Jen, have you got any thoughts on the Malvern Manor?
Okay, so yeah, Malvern is always pretty awesome. It's very creepy to me, especially in the old nursing home area, where the man kind of supposed to run out at you from that room. I get the creeps. This is the second time that we were there, and I was really looking for something to happen this time, because the first time it was great, and it didn't really happen much. It kind of picked up a little bit there, but no, there wasn't like a huge oh my gosh moment.
So the two clips that I want to play for you is one where we had started an investigation on the first floor over in the nursing home wing. There's a patient there who I do believe committed suicide in that particular room because she was kind of heartbroken because her husband had left her and she was just down in the dumps type particular. And I had my camera and I was shooting up into the hallway because Jen had just bought these kind of like light sticks. I guess if you come by them, they light up, and they're fairly tall, maybe 3 or 4 feet off the ground. So she put one in the hallway and then one on the inside of the room that we were in. So I was shooting out into the hallway to see if anything would happen. So at this particular point, at the 10-second mark, you'll be able to see along up in this particular type area, a ball of light. There's going to be a flash and then a ball of light. And, well, I'll talk to you more after the clip. But the 10-second mark. Save.
Save. Wasn't even close.
No. Something flashed.
Oh, did it?
Saw something in my camera and it flashed.
Oh.
So hopefully that at the 10-second mark you were able to see a light that just shot down the hallway. Now everybody talks about these like lights or energy or whatnot, but this is like one of the rare few times that I've actually were able to see one, because everybody's talking about, well, maybe it's a bug or maybe it's something like this, and I didn't see any more bugs or anything like that the rest of the night besides this one particular. It's like, wow, that's kind of interesting. And I wouldn't noticed it, but as you can see along the top here, it was kind of shooting into the room across the hallway, so it was kind of dark there. So you just see a little thing just whoop, just really across the top. So at the 10-second mark, I'll show it to you one more time. Save.
Save. Wasn't even close.
No. Something flashed.
Oh, did it?
Saw something in my camera and it flashed.
Oh.
Okay, for this next clip, Jen and I are in the living room, which is a decent sized room. This is where we have our equipment, and we kind of gear up to go out on the little different places that we investigate within this particular place. So we were chit-chatting, and I left the camera going and the audio running, and this is from the audio, and I keep it running all the time. So usually, as far as listening back to audio, as far as the one I carry with me, that could be like 12 to 14 hours, just from the time we get there to the time we end up packing up to leave. So at this particular point, we're just getting ready to go out, getting our things together, and we were talking about different spirits and entities and stuff like that. And at this particular point, at the 20-second mark, I think you'll be able to hear a voice pretty distinct. So I'm going to leave that up to you right now. The 20-second mark, listen for a lady's voice. Haste.
Haste.
Well, it'd have to be intelligent.
Would have to.
Think there's something intelligent here?
I think so. You communicated with Gracie?
Good point. Wonder if she's still here. Did you talk to her?
I have not.
So hopefully at the 20-second mark, you heard, I think so. I think so. I think so. Because at this particular point, I was talking to Gracie a little bit before that, because Jen had mentioned that. So that was kind of interesting that Jen had mentioned talking to Gracie, because when we were at the Ashmore Estates, Jen had purchased some dowsing rods. So during this purchase, she had a pendant that came along with it, and she's like, "Would you like a pendant?" And I'm like, "Well, sure, that's nice of you." And she's like, "Well, I've got an extra one that came along with this, so it's like I've already got one, so you can have this one." And I'm like, "Cool, cool." So I actually ended up talking to Gracie, and I was like, "Gracie, do you remember us from last time?" She's like, "No." And I'm like, "Yeah, I bet you see a lot of people come through." And she's like, yeah, I do." So that was kind of interesting that, I brought up, it's like, gosh, hopefully there's some intelligent people here that we can ask a question, they can answer it, and she just comes right out and says, "I think so. I think there's intelligent people here." And I'm like, "Whoa, okay." Just to give you a little background about Gracie, she had multiple personalities in this home, and actually, it's funny, the owner said he always liked talking to her and going down to her room and, talking to her and things down there. So it was kind of interesting. I was going to take a little bit of a nap in there, and I did spend a little bit of time down in Gracie's room, and it was kind of, she didn't do anything. She didn't talk to me there, so. But her room, compared to the living room was, just down the hall, so it makes you kind of gives you that feeling. It's like they're just not in their room, they're everywhere, as far as that goes, even though ghost and spirit can be kind of territorial at times, but it was kind of nice. So here it is again at the 20-second mark. You can hear Gracie saying, "I think so." Haste.
Haste.
Well, it'd have to be intelligent.
Would have to.
Think there's something intelligent here?
I think so. You communicated with Gracie?
Good point. Wonder if she's still here. Did you talk to her?
I have not. All right, so now we're going to take you to Squirrel Cage Jail up in Council Bluffs, Iowa. And that was a cool night. That was round 2 of our doubleheader. Greg, did you have any comments or anything that you can remember from that night? Okay, our second investigation, the Squirrel Cage Jail. Very interesting, very interesting. That was our second date of the back-to-back, and it was actually hot there too, and I think that's one thing I'd remembered, is that their air conditioning, I don't think, was not working at that time either, so there was a few different things that I had picked up on, like on my SLS camera, which is the
the Connect system type thing to where you can see like different figures, picks up on different figures and kind of maps them in as little stick figures and that. I remember having one like right around the jail area to where two of the cellmates were like fighting each other, so that was kind of interesting unto itself. And another particular thing that happened for me that I end up sticking out in my mind was that our safe room, which actually was the kitchen for the jail, was like on the very first floor right when you walk into the building itself. Because right when you walk into the building, off to the left was the kitchen area to where we were able to put our equipment down and set up and whatnot, and off to the right was like the business office or the sheriff's office or whatnot that you would call it. And I had a particular question for the lady that was with us there that night. You know, she ended up watching Netflix the whole night, so I had a question for her about the name of one of the ladies that might have lived there back in the day. So I ended up going across, and while I was talking to her, there was a window behind her outside leading to the street. So when I was talking to her, I saw a black figure of a man just walk right by that window, you know, boom, it was like right there. And I had asked her, I said, is there a bar around here? Do bars close or whatnot, you know, because I thought, okay, well maybe it's bar time and they're going home. She's like, no, there's nothing really in this particular area. And I'm like, well, I just saw somebody walk by the window. And she's like, well, that really couldn't have happened because, you know, the perimeter of the place is surrounded by a fence, and it's like hopefully somebody didn't break into the area of the fence and just kind of roaming around or whatever. So she checked the security cameras and stuff like that, and I'm like, are you serious? You know, because I plain as day. So we went outside and we looked at this particular window, and there's like, yeah, there's no way there could have been anybody there because there was an air conditioning unit like right below the window, and the window is sloped down from there, you know, so the rain would wash off into the street. So this guy would have to have been, you know, 20 feet tall if he were actually in the window like I saw it. I'm like, no, that can't be. So that freaked me out, and I kept, how can that be? How can that be? But that was very interesting. The Squirrel Cage Jail, very nice place.
All right, so the first clip we're going to show you from Squirrel Cage is a pretty awesome clip in my opinion. It kind of starts out at about the 8-second mark. You can hear a noise, and then about 13 seconds you'll hear another little blip of a noise. But what's the most interesting, I think, of this is Greg set a REM pod in Jake Bird's cell, and Greg is on the other side of me, on the other side of the jail from me, and I'm on this side, and his REM pod is going crazy, and it's pretty awesome. So the 8-second mark you can hear noise, and then Greg asks me about that noise because he could hear it. I don't remember, he asked me if I made it. I don't remember anything about that noise. I'm pretty sure I did not make that noise, but regardless, you will hear it. So here it is.
If you really like that, I want you to really grab a hold of it. Did you make that noise? Jan?
What?
Did you make that noise?
What noise?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Jesus. What is the deal?
I like it. I like it. Most I've seen that baby go off.
Okay.
So there it was. Hopefully you heard something. So again, we're actually going to play it for you again. It's the 8-second mark, and then the 13-second mark you can hear another little blip, and then his REM pod's going nuts. So here it is again.
If you really like that, I want you to really grab a hold of it. Did you make that noise? Dad,
What?
did you make that noise?
What noise? I don't think so.
Okay.
Jesus. What is the deal?
I like it. I like it. Most I've seen that baby go off.
Okay.
So then the next clip is also from Squirrel Cage. It is interesting in that, so again, how I was talking before, how I was holding my camera running. The camera that I was carrying, I just set down on the table and never turned it off for reasons such as this. So we're sitting there and we audibly heard it at the time. It wasn't when we were going back. We heard it at the time. There was sounded like jingles. And there was a lady there with us, but she was in the room across the hall and she was extremely quiet. She made no sounds. She had her headphones on the whole time. So we know it wasn't her. It sounded like maybe a jailer's keys jingling on their belts, or when someone plays with change in their pocket, something like that. So you will hear that at about the 5 to 6 second mark, and then it kind of keeps going, strangely enough, at about the 16 to 17 second mark. So here's that.
Like my mind isn't.
Was that outside? Because it was kind of teeny, so ding. Whatever.
Somewhat of,
It sounded like it was in here though.
yeah. But it sounded like that was something to do with like the railing. Like something like against the railing, or something like a chain or something.
Yeah. Like if you have a ring on, you grab it kind of a.
Right, so there it was. Very cool in my opinion. So we're gonna go ahead and play it again for you.
Like my mind isn't.
Was that outside? Because it was kind of teeny, so ding. Whatever.
Somewhat of,
It sounded like it was in here though.
yeah. But it sounded like that was something to do with like the railing. Like something like against the railing, or something like a chain or something.
Yeah. Like if you have a ring on, you grab it kind of a.
So this next clip that we're going to play for you is the beginning of something that is truly incredible to me. I interacted with a spirit at Squirrel Cage whose name was Sam. He came through on my Paranormal Puck 2 that I had with me at the time. He came through and he was answering questions intelligently that I was asking. I even at one point asked him to help me find his name. There were a section of names that were in like a ledger next to me, and I was flipping through them, and I'm like, Sam, can you help me find you? And as soon as I asked that, bam, I found his name. It was right there. And he was in jail for printing money. He was a counterfeiter. And multiple times throughout the night, I'd say who was with me, and I'd get printing, and I got cent, C-E-N-T, not S-C-N-T. So I kept getting these money terms or printing terms come through my puck. And yeah, and then there was another point where I said, Sam, are you still here? I just want to make sure I know I'm still speaking with you. And then that's when the word cent came through. And I mean, he told me all of this stuff. It was the most amazing experience I've ever had with the Paranormal Puck. It's the closest I've come to me personally ever interacting with the spirit on that level. It was amazing. And so, but here is the clip of the start of that.
Must be. Who am I speaking with? Who am I speaking with? Don't say city, please. Sam. Speaking of Sam.
Sam, there's an extra clip I wanted to show you tonight. Was from a private place that Jen and I had the opportunity of visiting a couple months ago here. We looked forward to going back to this place because we had been there once before, and we'd always had questions about different things, you know. It just had a good vibe to it, and we were actually able to go back to this place. So this little 2-minute clip that I could probably say was from an audio that I had running with me. And this is the kind of situation that we're starting to run into now. So I'm going to play that clip. I'm just going to play it once and, you know, just listen to it. So I'll make a few comments after that. Debbie, is there something keeping you here? Is there some spirit or something keeping you here? Wow. I'd say so, huh? Debbie, do you know the guy that works in the boiler room? Yes.
Yes.
How far do we go with this?
It's up to you if you want to go down that rabbit hole.
Did the boiler man did the guy that worked as maintenance or whatever, did he hurt you? Yeah. I don't know if I like where this is going.
Nope. I don't.
But she needs help. Debbie, do you need help?
I did hear something over there now. Did you hear it?
Yes, very good.
You
Thank
did?
you. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Debbie, do you need or want help? Yeah. So here's the situation that we had. You know, I had my pendant out in this particular time just to see if anybody was around, and it does look like we picked up on this spirit or entity named Debbie, who seemed to have lived here, worked here. I think she had worked there during the World War that her husband was serving in, and it sounded like he died in. But the thing that we're coming up with now is that she ended up being stuck there, and it's like we hadn't run across this before, and she needed help crossing over, but another spirit was holding her down. So, which turned out to be the janitor maintenance type guy in this particular place. So we were like, you know, well, what are we gonna do? And you know, it's like one of those, we probably should help, but is it like we're at a kind of a crossroads? Because I think Jen and I we wanted to find something, we wanted to be able to communicate, we wanted to be able to find out things. It's just an interesting interaction with, you know, us and spirits and whatnot, and you know, different things like that. And now we're coming across to where, like earlier, you know, Jen blacked out about this whole thing about Ashmore, so it's just kind of, you know, she's starting to remember a few different things about it, and now we're starting to getting better communication with particular ghosts, you know, with the type of tools that we do have. And now we're up to a situation to where, you know, some of these spirits need help crossing over because they're, you know, somebody's holding them back, or they not able to. So that's a crazy situation for us to be in, because it's also could be a little bit dangerous too. You know, how angry are these spirits going to be if we do try and cross somebody over that they don't want them to cross over type thing. So it's like something we're really gonna have to sit down and think about. I mean, it's one of those that, you know, everybody should be able to cross over, and hopefully nobody could contain them or would want to contain these spirits to a particular place, and there's sometimes I've often wondered about some places that we have, if they haven't brought something in there to continually saying that it is haunted type thing, you know, with different dolls or conjuring or whatever they, you know, whatever people do. But hopefully that's not the case. So it's we have to tread a little fine ground here. But anyway, I'd like to thank you for joining us for this presentation here. And
This year has been fantastic. It's been weird, though. You know, 2020 has been, as all of you know, has been anything but easy for any of us. But the paranormal side will always be there, and it being a passion for me, for I know me, and I know Greg as well. You know, we have that, and hopefully next year, you know, it would be great to go back to Squirrel Cage again. I can't wait to go back there, and hopefully meet with Sam again, and hopefully he has some more to tell me next year.
Marta, thank you again for having us, and hopefully next time around this time of year, you know, in early November, we'll be able to get together and talk about new places that we've gone to, because we plan to go to a jail in Indiana where Dillinger ended up being held for a while. So it's a pretty popular jail. It eludes me at this particular moment, and we want to return to the Squirrel Cage jail because I think Jen really likes it. So hopefully we can keep up that momentum there, and also would like to return to Villisca. So hopefully we'll see if those things materialize, right? But thank you anyway, and hopefully you enjoyed this presentation, and you'll come out and see us next time when we do a presentation in the Hiawatha Library, or even if you have questions or comments or concerns or whatever, that hopefully you'll be able to get a hold of the library, and they'll be able to get us questions, or you can probably even make it a comment here in the YouTube channel. So thank you once again, and hopefully you enjoyed everything, and hope you have a good night. Thank you very much.